When a reclusive tech millionaire opened his door to find a 5-year-old girl with his exact birthmark standing on his doorstep, he thought his world had ended, but it was only the beginning. The doctors had sworn he could never father children, yet here she was, living proof that his entire life had been built on a lie. And standing behind that little girl was the only woman he'd ever loved, the one who vanished 6 years ago without a trace, the one he thought had abandoned him. But what Ethan Wallace didn't know was that his own mother had orchestrated their separation, paying off landlords and destroying lives to keep them apart. Now, with reporters circling, his company demanding he choose between his reputation and his daughter, and the woman he loves questioning whether he'll stay or run, Ethan faces an impossible choice: the empire he built alone, or the family he never knew existed. One public declaration will change everything, but will it be enough to undo 6 years of lies, or will the past destroy their second chance before it even begins? Subscribe and comment below if you've ever discovered a truth that shattered everything you thought you knew, because this story is about to get a whole lot more complicated. The knock came at 9:30 on a Thursday night. Ethan Wallace sat at his desk, bathed in the blue glow of 3 computer screens. Numbers danced across the monitors: stock prices, market trends, the kind of data that had made him wealthy before he turned 30. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Atlantic Ocean stretched dark and endless under a sliver of moon. He almost didn't answer. Living alone by the sea meant privacy. It meant silence. It meant no one bothered him unless he wanted to be bothered. And at 9:30 on a Thursday night, Ethan definitely didn't want to be bothered. The knock came again, softer this time, almost hesitant. Ethan pushed back from his desk with a sigh. His bare feet padded across the cool hardwood floors of his oceanfront home. The house was all glass and steel and open space, beautiful, modern, and completely empty except for him, just the way he liked it. He flipped on the porch light and opened the door. A little girl stood on his doorstep. She couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Her hair was pulled back in 2 pom-pom puffs, each decorated with a bright yellow bow. She wore pink sneakers that lit up when she shifted her weight. In one hand, she clutched a worn teddy bear. In the other, she held a white envelope. Big brown eyes stared up at him, curious and unafraid. "Are you Mr. Wallace?" Her voice was small but clear. Ethan blinked. He looked past her, searching for parents, for someone, for anyone who could explain why a child was on his doorstep in the middle of the night. The driveway was empty, except for a beat-up Honda parked behind his Tesla. Yes, he said. The little girl smiled. It was the kind of smile that changed her whole face, lighting it up like the fireworks he sometimes watched from his deck on the 4th of July. "Mommy said you're my dad." The words hit him like a fist to the chest. Ethan's hand tightened on the doorframe. His mind went blank, then filled with 100 questions all at once. "What?" "Mommy said you're my dad," the girl repeated patiently, as if talking to someone who didn't speak English very well. "I'm Lily. I'm 5. I can write my name and count to 100, and I'm really good at coloring." Ethan opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Then he saw it. The little girl, Lily, shifted the teddy bear to her other arm. The movement made her collar shift, revealing a small patch of skin near her collarbone. There, just below where her shoulder met her neck, was a birthmark, crescent-shaped, dark against her brown skin, exactly like his. Ethan's hand moved unconsciously to his own shoulder, where an identical mark had been since birth. His mother used to call it his lucky moon. He'd never met another person with anything like it, until now. This isn't... He couldn't form a complete sentence. Footsteps crunched on the gravel drive. A woman appeared at the edge of the porch light's glow, moving slowly like she was approaching a wild animal that might bolt. Ethan's heart stopped. "Hello, Ethan." Ava. She looked different. Older, though still beautiful in a way that made his chest ache. Her hair was natural now, falling in soft curls around her face. She wore jeans and a simple blue sweater. No makeup, no jewelry, except for small silver hoops in her ears. She looked tired and nervous, and like someone who'd rather be anywhere else in the world. "Ava." Her name came out rough. Ethan cleared his throat. What is this?" "I didn't come to cause trouble." Ava's voice was quiet, controlled. "I just came to deliver a letter, and to let you meet her if you want." Meet her? Ethan looked down at Lily, who was studying him with that same curious, unafraid expression. "She said I'm her father." "You are. That's impossible." "And yet." Ava gestured at Lily. At the birthmark, at the situation that was very clearly impossibly real. Ethan's head spun. This couldn't be happening. It made no sense. He'd been tested. The doctors had been clear. He couldn't have children. It was one of the reasons he'd given up on the idea of family, of marriage, of anything resembling a normal life. It was one of the reasons Ava had left him, or so he'd thought. "Can we come in?" Ava asked. "Just for a minute. Then we'll go. I promise." Ethan stepped back. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the birthmark. Maybe it was the way Lily looked at him, like he was someone important, someone worth knowing. Maybe it was the ghost of what he'd once felt for Ava, still haunting him after all these years. "Thank you," Ava murmured as she guided Lily inside. The little girl's eyes went wide as she took in the massive living room, the windows showing the dark ocean, the expensive furniture that no one ever sat on. "Wow," Lily breathed. "Do you live in a castle?" Despite everything, Ethan almost smiled. "Not exactly. It's really big." Lily walked to the window, pressing her nose against the glass. "Is that the ocean? I've never seen the ocean at night before. It looks like it goes on forever." "It does," Ethan said. Then he turned to Ava. "We need to talk." "I know." Ava held out the envelope Lily had been carrying. "This explains everything, but I'll give you the short version. 6 years ago, we were together. Then you got that diagnosis, then I left. Except I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I left because I was told you'd moved away, that you wanted nothing to do with me. That's not—" "I know that now." Ava's jaw tightened. "But I was 23 and scared, and I believed what I was told. By the time I realized I was pregnant, you were gone. Or I thought you were. I tried to reach out once. The person who answered your phone said you'd moved to California and didn't want to be contacted." Ethan's stomach turned cold. "I never moved to California." "I know, but I didn't know that then. So I raised Lily alone, and I told myself it was fine, that we were fine." Ava's eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. "Then last month I was at the grocery store and I saw you on the cover of a magazine, some article about Charleston's most successful entrepreneurs, and I realized you'd been here the whole time. So you came to find me." "No, I came to give you this letter and to let you know Lily exists. What you do with that information is up to you." Ethan looked at the envelope in his hands. His name was written across the front in neat, careful handwriting. Inside would be answers, explanations, proof. But standing in his living room was all the proof he needed. That birthmark. That exact, identical birthmark. "I can't have children," he said flatly. "The doctors told me. After the accident, they ran tests. They said it was impossible." "They said it was unlikely," Ava corrected gently. "Not impossible. I read the letter you sent me. I've kept it all these years. You said unlikely, not never." Had he? Ethan tried to remember. That whole period of his life was a blur of pain and doctors and his mother's constant hovering. He'd been 27 and scared and convinced his life was over before it had really begun. "Mr. Wallace?" Lily had moved away from the window. Now she stood in front of him, looking up with those big, trusting eyes. "Are you sad?" "Mommy gets sad sometimes too. She says it's okay to be sad." Something cracked in Ethan's chest. He knelt down, bringing himself to Lily's eye level. "I'm not sad," he lied. "I'm just surprised." "Surprised is better than sad." Lily nodded seriously. Then she held out her teddy bear. "This is Mr. Buttons. He's been with me since I was a baby. Mommy says he's very special. Do you have a teddy bear?" No, I don't." "That's okay. You can share mine if you want." The crack in Ethan's chest widened. He looked up at Ava, who was watching them with an expression he couldn't read. Sadness, hope, fear, all of it mixed together. "I need time," Ethan said, standing, "to process this, to think." "Of course." Ava took Lily's hand. "Come on, baby. We should go." "But I want to stay," Lily protested. "We just got here, and I didn't even get to tell him about my school or my friends or my favorite color." "We'll come back another time," Ava said firmly. "Mr. Wallace needs to rest." "But, Lily, now!" The little girl's face fell, but she didn't argue. She let Ava lead her toward the door, dragging her feet the whole way. At the threshold, Ava paused. She looked back at Ethan, and for just a moment he saw the girl he'd fallen in love with 6 years ago, the one who laughed at his terrible jokes, the one who made him believe he could be more than his mother's disappointment. "You were always good at pretending not to feel," Ava said softly. "I hope that's changed." Then she was gone, guiding Lily down the steps and across the driveway. Ethan watched through the window as they climbed into the Honda, watched as the taillights disappeared down the long winding road that led away from his house, watched until there was nothing left to see except the dark and the ocean and his own reflection in the glass. He looked down at the envelope still clutched in his hand. Then he went to pour himself a drink. The whiskey burned going down, but Ethan barely noticed. He sat on his deck, the envelope open on the table beside him, the letter spread out under the glow of his phone's flashlight. The ocean murmured in the darkness, a constant whisper of waves on sand. Ava's handwriting was the same, neat, slightly slanted, with little flourishes on the capital letters. He remembered watching her write out grocery lists, study notes, silly messages on sticky notes that she'd leave around his old apartment. The letter started with an apology. "Dear Ethan, I don't know if you'll even read this. I don't know if you'll care, but I need to try. I need you to know the truth. 6 years ago I was told you moved away, that you didn't want to see me anymore. I was 23 and scared, and I believed it. I'm sorry. I should have tried harder to find you. I should have questioned what I was told, but I didn't. And then I found out I was pregnant." The letter went on. It told him about Ava's pregnancy, about how she'd worked 2 jobs to save up for the baby, about how Lily was born on a Tuesday morning in March, with a full head of hair and lungs that could wake the whole hospital. It told him about Lily's first word, mama, her first steps, at 10 months, her first day of school. She cried, but only a little. It told him about how Lily asked about her father sometimes, how Ava never knew what to say, how she'd kept all of Ethan's old letters and photos, just in case Lily ever wanted to know where she came from. It told him, in careful, painful detail, about all the moments he'd missed. "I'm not asking you for anything," the letter concluded. "Not money, not help, not even acknowledgement. I just thought you deserved to know she exists. What you do with that knowledge is your choice. But Ethan, she's amazing. She's smart and kind and curious about everything. She's the best thing I've ever done, and she has your eyes." Ethan read the letter 3 times. Then he sat there in the dark, listening to the ocean, trying to make sense of a world that had turned upside down in the space of one evening. He couldn't have children, except apparently he could. He had a daughter, a 5-year-old daughter who liked to color and count to 100 and had a worn teddy bear named Mr. Buttons. A daughter he'd never known existed. The anger came slowly, building like a wave. Someone had told Ava he'd moved away. Someone had lied to her. Someone had kept him from knowing about Lily. Ethan pulled out his phone. He scrolled through his contacts until he found the number he wanted. His mother answered on the 3rd ring, her voice sharp despite the late hour. "Ethan, what's wrong? Did you know?" He didn't bother with pleasantries. "Did you know about Ava?" A pause. Too long. Too telling. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't lie to me, Mother, not about this." Another pause, then quietly. "We'll talk about this in person. Tomorrow. Come to the house." "No, tell me now." "Ethan, tell me now." The line went dead. Ethan threw his phone onto the couch. He paced the deck, his heart pounding, his mind racing. 6 years, 6 years of lies, 6 years of missing out on his daughter's life. His daughter. The words still didn't feel real. He looked down at his shoulder, at the crescent-shaped birthmark that had always made him different. His mother used to joke that it meant he was blessed, that the universe had marked him for something special. What if she'd been right, just not in the way she'd thought? The sky was starting to lighten when Ethan finally went inside. He didn't sleep. Instead, he sat at his desk, watching the sun rise over the ocean, thinking about a little girl with his birthmark and his eyes and 6 years of life he'd never gotten to see. By the time the clock struck 8, he'd made up his mind. He needed answers, real ones, and he knew exactly where to start. The medical center was quiet when Ethan arrived. He'd called ahead, pulling strings and making promises until someone agreed to see him on short notice. Money had its advantages. Doctor Chen met him in a small consultation room. The man was older than Ethan remembered, with silver threading through his dark hair and new wrinkles around his eyes. "Mr. Wallace," Dr. Chen said, shaking his hand. "It's been a long time. What can I do for you?" "My file," Ethan said. "From the accident, the fertility tests. I need to see them." Dr. Chen's expression shifted, became careful. "Is there a problem?" "Just show me the file." The doctor pulled it up on his computer. Ethan leaned forward, scanning the screen, looking for the words that had changed his life 6 years ago, the words that had made him give up on ever having a family. There, in black and white. Fertility assessment. Inconclusive. Patient shows reduced sperm count and motility. Natural conception unlikely but not impossible. Recommend follow-up testing in 6 to 12 months. Unlikely, not impossible. "I was told it was impossible," Ethan said slowly. "I was told I couldn't have children." Dr. Chen frowned. No, that's not what the tests showed. They showed it would be difficult, that you'd likely need medical assistance, but I never said impossible. Then who did? I don't know, but Dr. Chen scrolled through the file. Your mother was present for most of your appointments. She handled a lot of the paperwork and communication. Perhaps there was a miscommunication. Miscommunication. The word was too kind for what Ethan was starting to suspect. He thanked Dr. Chen and left. He sat in his car in the parking lot, gripping the steering wheel, trying to breathe through the rage building in his chest. His mother had lied, or at best she'd let him believe a lie. She'd let him think he was infertile. She'd let him push Ava away because of it. And then she'd made sure Ava stayed away. Ethan started the car. His mother's estate was on the other side of Charleston, a sprawling property that screamed old money and older traditions. He made it there in 20 minutes, breaking at least 3 traffic laws on the way. The housekeeper tried to stop him, but Ethan brushed past her. He found his mother in the sunroom, drinking tea and reading the morning paper like this was any other day. Ethan, she said, looking up with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, I wasn't expecting you so early. Did you pay her? His voice was shaking. Did you pay Ava to leave? Clara Wallace set down her teacup with a soft clink. Sit down. Let's discuss this like adults. I don't want to sit down. I want you to answer the question. His mother sighed. She folded the paper carefully, smoothing down the edges, buying time. I did what I thought was best, she said finally. That girl, Ava, she was going to ruin your life. She came from nothing. She had nothing, and you were going to throw everything away for her. I loved her. You were infatuated with her. There's a difference. Clara's voice was calm, reasonable, the same tone she used when explaining why Ethan couldn't have dessert before dinner when he was a child. You'd just gone through a traumatic accident. You were vulnerable. She took advantage of that. She did no such thing. She was after your money, Ethan. They always are. The words hung in the air between them. Ethan felt something shift inside him, something fundamental and irreversible. You told her I moved away, he said quietly. When she tried to reach me, you told her I was gone. Clara didn't deny it. I told her you were moving on with your life, which was true. You were doing so well, building your company, focusing on your career. I wasn't going to let some girl drag you back down. She was pregnant with my child. You couldn't have children. The doctors said it was unlikely, not impossible. You knew that. You were there. His mother's composure cracked just slightly. I may have simplified the message, but Ethan, you have to understand I was protecting you. From what? From being happy, from having a family, from making a mistake. Clara stood up, her face flushed. From throwing your life away on a girl who wasn't good enough for you. There it was. The truth, naked and ugly, not good enough because Ava was black, because she came from a working-class family, because she didn't fit the image Clara Wallace had for her son's life. Ethan looked at his mother, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. I have a daughter, he said. Her name is Lily. She's 5 years old, and you stole 6 years of her life from me. Ethan, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want your excuses or your justifications or your twisted version of love. He turned toward the door. Don't call me. Don't come to my house. As far as I'm concerned, you're not part of my life anymore. You don't mean that. Ethan stopped. He looked back at his mother, at the woman who'd raised him and controlled him, and apparently sabotaged his chance at happiness. I do, he said. I really do. He left her standing in the sunroom, surrounded by expensive furniture and fresh flowers, and the life she'd built on lies. Outside, the sun was bright and warm. Ethan got in his car and pulled out his phone. He called Tom Harris, his driver, and one of the few people he actually trusted. Tom, he said when the man answered. I need you to find someone for me. Ava Brooks, she's a preschool teacher. Lives somewhere in Charleston. I need an address. Boss, are you sure? Please, just find her. There was a pause. Then, give me an hour. Ethan hung up. He drove aimlessly through Charleston, past the historic homes and tourist attractions, and the waterfront where he'd first met Ava 6 years ago. The city looked different now, brighter, like someone had turned up the contrast. Or maybe he was just finally seeing it clearly. His phone rang 50 minutes later. Got it, Tom said. She works at Little Stars Preschool on Meeting Street. But Ethan, be careful. Whatever's going on, just be careful. I will. Thanks, Tom. Ethan drove to Meeting Street. The preschool was a cheerful yellow building with a playground out front. Through the windows, he could see small children playing with blocks and drawing at tables. His daughter was in there, right now, learning and playing and living her life, completely unaware that her world was about to change. Ethan sat in his car, watching the building, trying to gather his courage. Then he saw her. Ava walked past the window, leading a line of children toward the back of the room. She was smiling, patient, pointing at something on the wall. She looked natural with the kids. Happy. He'd forgotten that about her. How good she was with children. How much she'd always wanted to be a teacher. Before he could talk himself out of it, Ethan got out of the car and walked to the front door. The receptionist looked up as he entered. "Can I help you? I'm here to see Ava Brooks. It's personal." The woman's eyes widened slightly, recognizing him. He was used to that. Being in the papers had its drawbacks. "I'll let her know you're here." Ethan waited in the small lobby, surrounded by children's artwork and alphabet posters. His heart pounded. What was he going to say? How did you apologize for 6 years of absence you didn't even know about? "Ethan." He turned. Ava stood in the doorway, her expression wary. Behind her, he could see children peeking around the corner, curious about the visitor. "Can we talk?" he asked. "I'm working. Please, I need to tell you something." Ava glanced back at her classroom, then nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but not here. The playground. 5 minutes." She led him outside to a covered area with benches. Through the fence, Ethan could see children playing on swings and slides. One of them was Lily, her yellow bows bouncing as she ran. "What do you want?" Ava asked, crossing her arms. "I talked to my doctor and my mother." Ethan took a breath. "You were right about everything. I wasn't infertile. And my mother, she's the one who told you I moved away. She's the one who kept us apart." Ava's expression didn't change. "I know." "You know? I figured it out. Eventually. But by then it had been years, and I didn't think you'd care." She looked away. "I thought you'd moved on, found someone else, built a different life." "I didn't. I've been alone for 6 years." "So have I." The words hurt more than they should have. Ethan moved closer, wanting to touch her, to bridge the distance between them, but Ava stepped back. "Don't," she said quietly. "Don't make this harder than it already is. I want to know her. Lily. I want to be her father. You are her father. The DNA doesn't lie." Ava's voice was tight. "But being a father is more than genetics, Ethan. It's showing up. It's being there. It's choosing her every single day, even when it's hard." "I know, and I want to do that. I want to—" "Mommy!" Lily's voice cut through the conversation. The little girl ran toward them, her face bright with excitement. "Mr. Wallace came back." Lily grabbed Ethan's hand, her fingers small and warm. "Did you come to see me? Are you going to stay this time?" Ethan looked down at her, at this little person who was his daughter, who had his birthmark and his eyes, and apparently his habit of asking too many questions. "Yes," he said. "I came to see you." Lily's smile was like the sun breaking through clouds. "Will you help me with something? The shelf in our reading corner is broken, and Miss Nora can't fix it, and Mommy tried, but the screws are stuck." "Lily, Mr. Wallace is busy," Ava started. "Actually," Ethan said, "I'd love to help." Ava looked at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Fine, but only for a few minutes. Then you need to go." Lily cheered and dragged Ethan inside, chattering the whole way about books and reading corners and how she knew all her letters. Ava followed behind, her expression unreadable. It took Ethan 20 minutes to fix the shelf. It wasn't complicated, just a few loose screws and a wobbly bracket. But the whole time he worked, Lily sat beside him, telling him about her favorite books and her best friend and the picture she was drawing of a mermaid. "You're good at fixing things," Lily said, watching him tighten the last screw. "Mommy says I'm good at fixing things too. Maybe we're the same." Something squeezed in Ethan's chest. "Maybe we are." "Lily, come on," Ava called from across the room. "Mr. Wallace needs to leave now." "But now, baby." Lily sighed dramatically but obeyed. She ran to Ethan and threw her arms around his legs in a quick, fierce hug. "Thank you for fixing the shelf," she said. "Will you come back?" Ethan looked past her at Ava, who was watching them with an expression he couldn't name. "I'd like that," he said. "Promise?" "I promise." Lily let go and ran back to her friends. Ethan stood up, brushing sawdust off his expensive pants, and walked over to Ava. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for letting me stay." "Don't thank me yet." Ava's voice was soft but firm. "If you're going to be in her life, you need to be all in. No halfway, no changing your mind when things get hard. She's 5 years old and she's already been through enough." "I understand." "Do you?" "Because I've been doing this alone for 6 years. I've been the one who stays up when she's sick, the one who comforts her after nightmares, the one who works 2 jobs to make sure she has everything she needs. Ava's eyes glistened. I won't let you break her heart. She's already starting to like you. If you can't commit to this, then leave now. Ethan met her gaze. I'm not leaving. I want to be her father. I want to make up for the time I lost. You can't make it up. That time is gone. Then I'll make new time. Better time. He took a breath. Have dinner with me. Both of you. Let me start trying. Ava hesitated. For a moment, Ethan thought she'd say no. Then slowly, she nodded. 1 dinner. We'll see how it goes. 1 dinner, Ethan agreed. As he left the preschool, Lily waved from the window, her smile bright enough to light up the whole world. Ethan waved back and felt something he hadn't felt in 6 years. Hope. The coffee shop was small and warm, tucked between a bookstore and a flower shop on King Street. Ava had chosen it deliberately, public enough to feel safe, quiet enough to talk. She sat by the window, watching rain streak down the glass, trying to calm her racing heart. This was a mistake. She knew it was a mistake. But Lily had talked about Mr. Wallace non-stop for 3 days, about how he fixed the shelf, about how he had kind eyes, about how he promised to come back. And when a 5-year-old believed in someone that completely, how could Ava say no? The bell above the door chimed. Ethan walked in, shaking rain from his jacket. He spotted her immediately, and something in his expression softened. He looked tired, like he hadn't been sleeping either. Thank you for meeting me, he said, sitting down across from her. I can't stay long. Lily's with my co-worker, and I promised I'd only be an hour. I'll be quick then. Ethan folded his hands on the table. His fingers were long, elegant. Ava remembered those hands, remembered how gentle they could be. I want to take a DNA test. She blinked. What? For Lily. I believe you. I do. But I need proof, legal proof, for when we figure out custody and... He stopped at the look on her face. What? Custody? Ava's voice rose slightly. 2 women at the next table glanced over. She lowered her voice. Ethan, I'm not giving you custody. I didn't mean sole custody. I meant shared, or visitation, or whatever makes sense. He ran a hand through his hair. I don't know how this works. I've never done this before. Neither have I. Not with you involved. The words came out harsher than she intended. Ethan flinched. I'm sorry, Ava said quietly. That wasn't fair. It was completely fair. I wasn't there. Even if I didn't know, I still wasn't there. He leaned forward. But I'm here now, and I want to do this right. A DNA test is step 1, making sure everything is legal and documented. For Lily's sake. Ava studied him. He meant it. She could see it in his eyes, in the set of his shoulders. This wasn't about control or ownership. This was about protection, about making sure Lily was secure no matter what happened between them. Okay, she said finally. We'll do the test. Ethan's shoulders relaxed. Thank you. But Ethan, this doesn't change anything between us. We're not getting back together. This is about Lily. Only Lily. I know. Did he? Ava wasn't sure. There was something in the way he looked at her, something that reminded her of 6 years ago, when they'd been young and in love and convinced they could handle anything together. They'd been wrong then. They'd probably be wrong now too. The waitress came over and they ordered coffee. Black for Ethan. Caramel latte for Ava, extra foam the way she'd always liked it. Ethan remembered. She could tell by the small smile that crossed his face when she ordered. How is she? He asked when the waitress left. Lily, really? She's amazing. Ava's voice softened. It always did when she talked about her daughter. She's smart. So smart it scares me sometimes. She taught herself to read when she was 4. Just picked up books and figured it out. Like you. Maybe. She's also stubborn and curious, and she asks a million questions about everything. Ava smiled. Yesterday she wanted to know why the sky is blue, then why water is wet, then why people have to sleep. I finally told her to ask her teacher. Ethan laughed. It was a rusty sound, like he didn't do it often. She sounds exhausting. She is, but in the best way. Ava paused. She asks about you, you know, about her father. I never knew what to tell her. I didn't want to lie, but I didn't want to hurt her either. What did you say? That you didn't know about her, that if you did, you would have been there. Ava met his eyes. I hope I wasn't wrong. You weren't. The coffee arrived. They drank in silence for a moment, watching the rain. The shop smelled like cinnamon and old books. Outside, people hurried past with umbrellas, heads down against the weather. I'm scared, Ava admitted suddenly. Of you being in her life, of her getting attached, of this all falling apart and her being the one who gets hurt. I'm scared too. Of what? Of failing her, of not being a good father, of proving my mother right. Ethan's jaw tightened. She said I'd be terrible at it, that I'm too selfish, too focused on work. Maybe she's right. She's not. The words came out firm, certain. Ava surprised herself. I've seen you with Lily. You're patient with her. You listen. Those are the most important things. I fixed a shelf. That's not exactly parenting. It's a start. Their eyes met, held. For a moment, Ava felt that old pull, that magnetic thing that had drawn them together 6 years ago, the thing that had made her believe they could build a life together despite all the obstacles. She looked away first. We should go, she said. Get the test done. The sooner we know for sure, the sooner we can figure out what comes next. Right. Ethan pulled out his wallet. I can pay for my own coffee. I know you can, but let me, please. Ava nodded. She gathered her purse and jacket, preparing to leave. At the door, Ethan's hand caught her elbow. Gentle, barely there. Ava, I know you said this is just about Lily, but I need you to know, I never stopped thinking about you. Not once in 6 years. Her breath caught. She turned to face him. Don't, she whispered. Please don't. Why not? Because it hurts. Because we can't go back. Because I spent 6 years building a life without you, and I can't just... She trailed off. I can't fall apart again. Ethan's hand dropped. I understand. But as they walked to his car, sharing his umbrella against the rain, Ava wondered if either of them understood anything at all. The DNA test took 15 minutes. A lab technician swabbed Lily's cheek while the little girl sat very still, eyes wide and curious. Then Ethan's. The samples went into sealed envelopes with official-looking labels. Results in 3 to 5 business days, the technician said cheerfully. We'll call you both. Lily swung her legs from the exam table. Did I do good? You did perfect, Ava assured her. What happens now? Now we wait. I'm good at waiting. I waited a whole year for my birthday, and it finally came. Lily hopped down. Can Mr. Wallace come with us for ice cream? Ava hesitated. Ethan's expression was hopeful, but careful. Not pushing, just waiting. One ice cream, Ava said. Then we need to get home. Lily cheered. She grabbed Ethan's hand without hesitation, chattering about her favorite flavors as they walked to the car. Ethan listened to every word, nodding seriously, like the choice between chocolate chip and mint was the most important decision in the world. They went to a small parlor near the water. Lily got strawberry with rainbow sprinkles. Ava got vanilla. Ethan got nothing. You don't like ice cream? Lily asked, scandalized. I like it fine, I'm just not hungry. You should always be hungry for ice cream, that's what Mommy says. Your mommy is very wise. Ava felt heat creep up her neck. She focused on her ice cream, trying not to notice how Ethan watched her, how his gaze lingered just a bit too long. Lily ate with enthusiasm, getting sprinkles everywhere. She told Ethan about her preschool, about her best friend Marcus who could do a handstand, about the caterpillar they were watching turn into a butterfly. It's in a chrysalis now, Lily explained, very serious. Miss Nora says it's sleeping and changing. When it wakes up, it'll have wings. Isn't that magic? It is, Ethan agreed. Mommy says nothing is really magic. She says it's all science. But I think science is magic, don't you? Ethan smiled. I think you might be right. Watching them together made Ava's chest ache. This was what she'd dreamed about 6 years ago, what she'd imagined during long, lonely nights when Lily was a baby. The three of them, together, a family. But dreams were dangerous things. They made you hope when you should know better. We should go, Ava said, checking her phone. It's getting late. Lily's face fell. Already? It's a school night, baby. But no buts. Lily sighed dramatically, but gathered her things. At the door, she turned to Ethan. Will I see you again? Yes, he promised. Soon. How soon? Very soon. Lily seemed satisfied with that. She hugged him quickly, then ran to the car. Ava lingered behind. Thank you, she said, for coming to the test, for the ice cream, for trying. I'm not trying, Ethan said. I'm committed. There's a difference. Ava wanted to believe him. She wanted it so badly it scared her. We'll see what the test says. We already know what it'll say. Maybe, but I've learned not to assume anything. She pulled her jacket tighter. Good night, Ethan. Good night, Ava. She walked to her car, feeling his eyes on her the whole way. The next 3 days were torture. Ava threw herself into work, leading circle time and art projects and snack distribution with maybe too much enthusiasm. Her co-worker Nora noticed. You okay? Nora asked during nap time, when all the children were sleeping on their mats. Fine. You've reorganized the bookshelf 4 times today. It needed organizing. Nora gave her a look. She was 27, sharp-eyed, and protective as a mother bear when it came to her friends. This is about Lily's father, isn't it? Ava slumped against the wall. We did a DNA test. We're waiting for results. And you're freaking out? I'm not freaking out. You reorganized the bookshelf 4 times. Ava laughed despite herself. Okay, maybe I'm freaking out a little. What are you afraid of? Everything. Ava picked at a loose thread on her sleeve. What if the test is positive? What if he wants custody? What if he takes her away? Does he seem like the kind of man who'd take a child from her mother? No. But I didn't think he was the kind of man who'd disappear either, and look what happened. That wasn't his fault. You said his mother lied. I know. But... Ava trailed off. How could she explain the fear that lived in her chest? The certainty that good things didn't last. That the moment you trusted someone, they'd let you down. She'd been raised by a single mother who worked 3 jobs. She'd watched her mom's boyfriends come and go, each one promising forever, none of them staying past spring. She'd learned early that promises were just words, that love was temporary, that the only person you could really count on was yourself. Even Ethan had proven that, hadn't he? Oh, it wasn't his fault. She knew that now, but the hurt was the same either way. Give him a chance, Nora said gently. For Lily's sake. She deserves a father who shows up. I know. And Ava, maybe you deserve it too. Before Ava could respond, one of the children woke up crying. The moment passed, but Nora's words stayed with her. That night after Lily was asleep, Ava sat on her small balcony and looked at the stars. Her apartment was tiny. 2 bedrooms, worn carpet, appliances that broke more often than they worked. But it was hers. She'd earned it. Every stick of furniture, every dish, every toy in Lily's room. She'd done it alone. The thought of sharing that with Ethan terrified her, not because he'd take over, but because she might let him. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Ava's heart jumped. Hello? Ms. Brooks, this is Clarity Labs. Your DNA test results are ready. Ethan got the call at 6 in the morning. He was already awake. Had been for hours. Sleep was impossible when your entire future hung in the balance. Mr. Wallace, your results are ready. You can pick them up any time today or we can email them. Email, Ethan said immediately. Send them now. He sat at his desk, staring at his inbox, refreshing every 5 seconds until the email appeared. His hand shook as he clicked it open. The document was full of technical language and numbers and charts, but at the bottom, in bold letters, was the only sentence that mattered. Probability of paternity, 99.9%. Ethan stared at the words until they blurred. He had a daughter. It was real, official, undeniable. He had a daughter. The room seemed too bright suddenly, too small. Ethan stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the ocean without really seeing it. He was a father. The thought was too big to hold. It kept slipping away, then crashing back, overwhelming him all over again. He needed to tell Ava, needed to see her, needed to figure out what came next. Ethan grabbed his keys and was out the door before he could think twice. The preschool was already open when he arrived. Through the window, Ethan could see children streaming in, parents dropping them off with hurried kisses and promises to be back soon. He waited in the parking lot until the last parent left. Then he walked inside. The receptionist smiled at him. Mr. Wallace, back again? Is Ava here? She's in the classroom, I can... But Ethan was already moving. He found the room easily, found Ava kneeling beside a little boy, helping him tie his shoe. She looked up, saw him. Her face went pale. The results, she whispered. Can we talk? Please. Ava looked around at the children, at her co-worker, at the life she'd built that was about to change forever. Nora, can you cover for me? Of course. They walked outside to the playground. Early morning sun made everything gold and soft. Somewhere a bird sang. Ethan pulled out his phone and showed her the email. Ava read it twice, 3 times. Then she looked up at him with eyes full of tears. I told you, she said. Her voice broke. I told you she was yours. I know. I'm sorry I doubted you. You had every right to doubt me. We hadn't spoken in 6 years. For all you knew, I was lying, or confused, or... She stopped. Ethan, what do we do now? I don't know, but we'll figure it out together. Together, Ava repeated softly, like the word was foreign. Through the window, they could see Lily. She'd spotted them and was waving enthusiastically, her whole face lit up with joy. Ethan waved back. His daughter, his actual, real, proven daughter. I want to be there, he said. For everything, school events and doctor's appointments and bedtime stories, I want to know her, really know her. That's good. And I want to support you, financially, emotionally, however you need. You shouldn't have to do this alone anymore. Ava's tears spilled over. I don't know how to not do it alone. Then we'll learn together. She laughed, wet and shaky. You make it sound easy. It won't be. But Ava, we made something beautiful. Look at her. He gestured to the window, to Lily, who was now twirling for them, showing off her dress. We made that. Together. Even when we were apart. Maybe that means we can do this too. Ava wiped her eyes. I'm scared. Me too. They stood there in the morning sun, watching their daughter play, both terrified and hopeful, and wondering how they'd gotten here. Lily pressed her face against the glass, making a silly expression. They both laughed. Okay, Ava said finally. Okay, we'll try. Thank you. But Ethan, if you hurt her, if you promise something and don't deliver, I will never forgive you. Never. I understand, and I won't. I swear I won't. Ava nodded. She started to go back inside, then paused. Do you want to come for dinner tonight? At my place. Nothing fancy. Just us. The three of us. Ethan's heart soared. I'd love that. 6 o'clock. I'll text you the address. She walked back inside, leaving Ethan alone in the playground. He looked up at the sky, at the sun rising higher, and felt something he hadn't felt in years, like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. That evening, Ethan stood outside a small apartment building with takeout containers and a bag of toys he probably shouldn't have bought but couldn't resist. He was nervous, more nervous than he'd been for any business meeting or public speech or first date, because this mattered. This mattered more than anything. He knocked. Lily opened the door, already in pajamas, pink with little stars all over. Her hair was loose, falling in soft curls. You came! She threw her arms around his legs. Mommy said you might not come because sometimes people say things and don't mean them, but I knew you'd come, I knew it. Ethan knelt down to her level. I always mean what I say, especially to you. Good. Come on, I want to show you my room. She dragged him inside before Ava could protest. The apartment was small but clean, full of light and color. Children's drawings covered the fridge, books lined makeshift shelves. A worn couch faced a small TV. It was nothing like Ethan's sterile mansion. It was warm, lived in, loved. Lily's room was tiny, barely big enough for her twin bed, a dresser, and a box of toys. But she decorated it like a palace. Drawings covered the walls. Stuffed animals crowded the bed. A mobile of paper stars hung from the ceiling. I made those, Lily said proudly, pointing at the stars. Mommy helped, but I cut them out myself. Do you like them? They're beautiful. That's my favorite book. She pointed to a worn copy of Where the Wild Things Are on her nightstand. Mommy reads it to me every night, do you know it? I do. Will you read it to me tonight? Ethan's throat tightened. If your mom says it's okay. She will. She always says yes to books. They returned to the living room. Ava was setting the table. Mismatched plates, paper napkins, forks that didn't quite match. She looked embarrassed. It's not much, she said. It's perfect, Ethan replied honestly. They ate at the small table. Ethan had brought Chinese food, fried rice, orange chicken, vegetable lo mein. Lily told stories between bites, bouncing from topic to topic with 5-year-old energy. Ava watched them both, quiet, her expression unreadable. After dinner, Lily wanted to show Ethan her drawings. They spread out on the living room floor, going through each one as she explained what she'd made. A rainbow, a dog, her teacher, a house with flowers. And this one is my family, Lily said, holding up a picture of 3 stick figures, one tall with yellow hair, one medium with brown curls, one small with pom-pom hair and a big smile. She'd drawn it before she met him, Ethan realized, before she even knew what he looked like. But somehow she'd drawn him with yellow hair exactly like his. It's wonderful, he managed. You can keep it if you want. Really? Yeah, so you remember us when you go back to your castle. Ethan looked at Ava. She was watching them with tears in her eyes. I could never forget you, he said to Lily. Not ever. Later, when it was bedtime, Lily insisted Ethan read to her. They piled onto her small bed, Lily in the middle, Ava on one side, Ethan on the other. He read Where the Wild Things Are slowly, doing voices for each character. Lily giggled. Ava smiled. By the end, Lily was yawning. Time for sleep, Ava said gently. But I'm not tired. Your eyes are closing. They're just resting. Ava kissed her forehead. Good night, baby. Good night, Mommy. Lily turned to Ethan. Good night, Dad? The word hung in the air. Tentative. Testing. Ethan's eyes burned. Good night, Lily. Can I call you Dad? Yes, if you want to. I want to. Lily yawned again. All the other kids have dads, now I have one too. She fell asleep within minutes, her breathing soft and even. Ethan and Ava stayed frozen, not wanting to wake her, not wanting to leave this moment. Finally, they crept out of the room. In the living room, Ava poured them both wine. Her hands shook slightly. She called you Dad, Ava whispered. I know. That was fast. Too fast? I don't know. Ava sank onto the couch. Everything about this is fast. You've been back in our lives for less than a week and already she adores you. Already she trusts you completely. Is that bad? It's terrifying. Ava looked at him. What if you decide this is too hard? What if you wake up one day and realize you don't want this life? What happens to her then? That won't happen. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Ethan sat beside her, not too close, respectful of the space between them. Ava, I've spent 6 years building a company I don't care about, living in a house that feels like a tomb, going through motions because I didn't know what else to do. Then Lily knocked on my door, and everything changed. She woke me up, made me remember what matters. She's 5 years old. That's a lot of pressure to put on a child. I'm not putting pressure on her. I'm grateful to her for existing, for being exactly who she is. He paused. And I'm grateful to you for raising her alone, for being strong enough to do what I couldn't. You didn't know. It doesn't matter. You still did it, and she's incredible because of you. Ava's tears fell silently. Ethan wanted to hold her, wanted to pull her close and promise everything would be okay, but he stayed where he was, giving her space to feel whatever she needed to feel. I don't know how to do this, Ava admitted. How to share her, how to trust you, how to... She trailed off. How to what? How to not fall in love with you again. The words fell between them like stones in still water. Ethan's breath caught. Ava, don't. She held up a hand. Don't say anything. I shouldn't have said that. Forget I said that. I can't forget it. Then pretend, for Lily's sake, this has to be about her, only her. Why? Because if we try for more and it doesn't work, she's the one who suffers. I won't do that to her. I won't risk her happiness for us. Ethan wanted to argue, wanted to tell her that maybe they could have both. Maybe they could build something for themselves while building something for Lily. But Ava's face was set, determined, scared, so he nodded. Okay, for now, it's about Lily. Thank you. He stood to leave. At the door, Ava caught his sleeve. Ethan, thank you for tonight, for reading to her, for showing up. I'll always show up. That's a promise. He left, walking to his car under a sky full of stars. Behind him, the apartment glowed warm and golden. Inside were 2 people who'd somehow become his entire world in less than a week. Ethan drove home, but the mansion felt wrong now. Too big, too empty, too cold. He looked at the drawing Lily had given him, now carefully placed on his passenger seat. 3 stick figures. A family. For the first time in 6 years, Ethan let himself believe it might actually be possible. But first, he had one more person to confront. His mother. Clara Wallace's estate looked different at night. Colder, more imposing. The gates seemed less like welcome and more like warning. Ethan almost turned around, but he thought of Lily, of Ava, of 6 stolen years. He pressed the buzzer. Ethan? His mother's voice crackled through the speaker. It's late. We need to talk. Now. A pause. Then the gates swung open. Clara waited at the door in a silk robe, her face carefully neutral. Come in. They sat in the same sunroom where they'd fought before, but this time Ethan was calm, cold, certain. The DNA test came back, he said. Lily is my daughter. Clara's expression flickered. I see. Did you pay Ava to leave? I've already told you. The truth, Mother, did you pay her? I offered her money, yes, but she didn't take it. What else did you do? Clara stood, pacing to the window. I may have encouraged her landlord to ask her to move, made sure she lost her job, made it clear that staying in Charleston would be difficult. The words landed like punches. Ethan felt sick. You destroyed her life. I protected yours. Clara spun around. That girl was nothing, Ethan. No family, no money, no prospects. She would have dragged you down. She was pregnant with my child. You didn't know that. Neither did I. Would it have mattered? Silence. Would it have mattered? Ethan repeated, his voice shaking. If you'd known she was pregnant, would you have stopped? Clara's jaw tightened. I did what I thought was best. You're a coward and a bigot. And you stole 6 years from me and my daughter because you couldn't stand the idea of me loving someone you deemed beneath us. Ethan, I have a daughter. Her name is Lily. She's 5 years old, and she's brilliant and kind, and she has my birthmark. His voice broke. She called me Dad tonight. After knowing me for less than a week, she called me Dad. Do you know what that feels like? Knowing I could have had that all along if you hadn't interfered. Clara's face crumpled. For the first time she looked old, fragile. I'm sorry, she whispered. I was wrong, I see that now, but Ethan, please, don't shut me out, let me make it right. How? How could you possibly make this right? Let me meet her, let me apologize to Ava, let me try to be a grandmother. Ethan laughed bitterly. You think it's that easy? No, but I'm asking for a chance. One chance to prove I can change. He should have said no, should have walked out and never looked back. But he thought of Lily, of how she believed everyone deserved kindness, how she trusted without question, loved without reservation. Maybe he could learn from her. One chance, Ethan said, but you have to apologize to Ava. Really apologize. And if you ever interfere again, I won't, I swear. Ethan stood to leave. Ethan, Clara's voice was small. What's she like? Your daughter. Despite everything, Ethan smiled. She's perfect. He left his mother standing in the sunroom, surrounded by wealth that suddenly seemed very hollow. Outside the night was clear and cool. Ethan breathed deep, feeling lighter than he had in days. He had a daughter, and somehow, impossibly, he was going to figure out how to be her father. The beach was Lily's idea. Please, Mommy, please, please, please. She'd begged over breakfast, bouncing in her chair. Dad said he lives by the ocean, and I've never been to a real beach, and Miss Nora says the weather is perfect, and... Breathe, baby. Ava had laughed, but she'd texted Ethan anyway. Now they stood on the sand, shoes off, warm sun on their faces. The Atlantic stretched endless and blue. Waves rolled in with a steady rhythm that felt like the world's heartbeat. Lily ran toward the water, squealing when the foam touched her toes. Not too far, Ava called. I won't. Ethan stood beside Ava, hands in his pockets. He wore jeans and a simple white t-shirt. No expensive watch, no designer sunglasses. He looked younger somehow, more like the boy she'd fallen in love with 6 years ago. Thank you for this, he said. She's been talking about it all week. I meant thank you for giving me a chance. I know it's not easy. Ava watched Lily crouch down to examine a shell. She makes it easy. She loves you already. It's scary how much. Is that bad? I don't know yet. They walked along the shore while Lily played nearby. The sand was warm beneath their feet. Seagulls called overhead. Other families dotted the beach, building sandcastles, throwing frisbees, living their normal, uncomplicated lives. I talked to my mother, Ethan said. Ava's stomach tightened. And she admitted everything. What she did, why she did it. His jaw clenched. She wants to apologize to you, to meet Lily. No, Ava, no, Ethan. I'm not ready for that. Maybe not ever. I understand, but for what it's worth, I think she means it, the apology. Does it matter? She still did it. She still destroyed 6 years. Ethan was quiet for a moment. You're right. I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm telling you she wants to try when you're ready, if you're ever ready. Ava nodded. She didn't trust herself to say more. They walked in silence, following Lily as she darted from shell to shell, collecting treasures in her little bucket. Can I ask you something? Ethan said finally. Okay. What was it like? Being pregnant? Raising her alone? All of it. Ava considered the question. No one had ever asked her that. Not really. Everyone just assumed she'd managed because that's what you did. You managed. Terrifying, she said honestly. I was 23, working 2 jobs, living in a studio apartment with a leaky ceiling. When I found out I was pregnant, I cried for 3 days straight. But you kept her. I never considered not keeping her, even when I was scared, even when I didn't know how I'd do it. Ava smiled. The first time I felt her kick, I was at work. I was cleaning tables at this diner, and suddenly there was this flutter, like a butterfly inside me. And I just knew. I knew I'd do anything for her. What was the birth like? Long, painful, beautiful, Ava laughed. I was in labor for 18 hours. No epidural because I waited too long. My friend Nora was with me. She held my hand the whole time. And when Lily finally came, Ethan, she was so small, so perfect. She had this full head of dark hair, and when she opened her eyes, they were grey, like storm clouds, like mine, like yours. Ava agreed softly. The nurses kept saying how beautiful she was, and I kept thinking, you should see her father. Ethan stopped walking. Ava, I'm just telling you what happened. You thought about me. Every day, every single day. Ava's voice was thick when she smiled for the first time, when she took her first steps, when she started talking and I heard your voice in her words. I thought about you constantly, wondered where you were, what you were doing, if you ever thought about me too. I did, all the time. They stood there, facing each other, the ocean behind them, and 6 years of longing between them. Ethan reached for her hand. Ava let him take it. His fingers were warm, strong, familiar and foreign all at once. Mommy, Dad, look. They turned. Lily was running toward them, holding something carefully in both hands. When she reached them, breathless and excited, she opened her palms. A sand dollar, perfect and whole, white as snow. I found it in the water. Miss Nora says sand dollars are really rare, and if you find one, it means you're lucky. Lily's eyes shone. We're all lucky now. She handed the sand dollar to Ethan with such trust, such certainty, that Ava felt her chest crack open. Thank you, Ethan said, his voice rough. I'll keep it safe. We should make a sandcastle, Lily decided. A big one, with towers and a moat and everything. They spent the next hour building. Lily directed like a tiny general, telling them where each tower should go, how deep to dig the moat, which shells to use for decoration. Ethan followed her instructions seriously, never once suggesting his own ideas. He let her lead, let her be the expert. Ava watched them work and felt something dangerous bloom in her chest, something that felt an awful lot like hope. When the castle was done, lopsided but magnificent, Lily insisted they all hold hands around it. We have to make a wish, she explained. That's what you do with sandcastles. You wish for something important. What are you going to wish for? Ava asked. I can't tell you or it won't come true. Lily squeezed their hands. Okay, everybody close your eyes and wish. Ava closed her eyes. The sun was warm on her face. The ocean sang its endless song. On one side she held her daughter's small hand. On the other she held Ethan's larger one. She didn't know what to wish for. There were too many things. Too many impossible things, so she wished for the simplest thing of all, for this moment to last. When they opened their eyes, Lily was beaming. I think it worked, she said confidently. I think all our wishes will come true. Later, as they packed up to leave, Lily found a stick and started drawing in the sand. Ava and Ethan sat nearby, watching the waves, not quite touching but close enough to feel each other's warmth. This was perfect, Ethan said quietly. Thank you. You don't have to keep thanking me. Yes, I do. You're letting me into her life, into both your lives. That's not nothing. Ava looked at him, really looked, at the way the sun caught in his hair, at the softness in his eyes when he watched Lily, at the man he'd become, or maybe the man he'd always been underneath the money and the walls. Ethan, Done! Lily ran over, grabbing Ava's hand. Come see. She'd drawn 3 figures in the sand, stick people holding hands. Above them she'd written in big, careful letters, Mommy, Daddy, and me. That's us, Lily said proudly. That's our family. Ava's eyes burned. She looked at Ethan and saw the same emotion reflected back. It's beautiful, Ava managed. Can we take a picture? So we remember. They took the picture, all 3 of them standing behind the drawing, squinting into the sun, smiling. In the photo, they looked like what they were trying so hard to become, a family. The moment felt fragile, precious, like something that could shatter if you breathed too hard. Ava didn't know yet how right she was. The man with the camera was good. He stayed far back, using a long lens invisible among the other beachgoers. He snapped photos of the millionaire tech genius playing with a little black girl and a beautiful black woman. Photos of them building sandcastles, holding hands, looking like a family. His editor would love this. Charleston's most eligible bachelor had a secret, and tomorrow everyone would know. Ethan's phone started ringing at 6 the next morning. He ignored the first 3 calls, but when Tom's name flashed across the screen for the 4th time, he answered. This better be important. Boss, we have a problem, a big one. Ethan sat up. What kind of problem? Check your email. The Charleston Chronicle, front page. Ethan's stomach dropped. He grabbed his laptop, pulled up the paper's website, and there it was. The headline, Tech Millionaire's Secret Family below it. Photos. Him and Lily building sandcastles. Him and Ava walking hand in hand. Lily hugging him. All of them together, looking happy and intimate and completely exposed. The article speculated wildly. Was this a secret relationship? How long had it been going on? Who was the mystery woman? Sources claimed she was a preschool teacher from a working-class background. The child appeared to be 5 or 6 years old. Questions about paternity, implications about scandal. Ethan's phone rang again. His PR manager. "We need to talk," she said without preamble. "Now." By noon, Ethan's office was full of people giving him advice he didn't want. "You need to release a statement," his PR manager insisted. "Clarify the situation. Deny everything until you have legal documentation," his lawyer said. "The board is concerned," his CFO added. "This kind of publicity affects stock prices, affects partnerships." "I'm not denying anything," Ethan said flatly. "Lily is my daughter. Ava is her mother. That's the truth. But the optics, I don't care about the optics." "You should," his PR manager said. "The article makes it look like you abandoned a child, like you've been hiding a family. That's not a good look for the company. I didn't know about her. My mother." He stopped. Explaining his mother's interference would only make things worse, make him look weak or controlled. "It's complicated. Then uncomplicate it, fast, before this gets worse." Ethan rubbed his face. He hadn't slept, couldn't sleep. All he could think about was Ava and Lily seeing those photos, seeing themselves splashed across the internet for everyone to judge. "Set up a press conference," he said finally. "Tomorrow. I'll explain everything. Are you sure that's wise?" "No, but it's what I'm doing." They filed out, leaving him alone in his office. Ethan stared at his phone. He needed to call Ava, needed to warn her, needed to apologize, even though this wasn't his fault. But when he called, she didn't answer. He tried again. Voicemail, a text. "Ava, please call me. I'm so sorry." No response. Tom appeared in his doorway. "Boss, you okay?" "No. Want my advice?" "Not really, but you'll give it anyway." Tom smiled slightly. "Go see her. In person. Don't let this fester. What if she won't see me? Then you keep trying until she does." Ethan grabbed his keys. Ava saw the article at breakfast. Nora sent it to her with 3 words. "I'm so sorry." Ava clicked the link and felt the world tilt. There she was. Her face, her daughter. Her private life spread out for everyone to see. The photos were invasive, intimate. They'd captured moments that belonged to her and Lily and Ethan and no one else. And the comments. Oh God, the comments. Gold digger. She trapped him. What kind of mother exposes her child like this? He can do so much better. Some were worse. Some were racist. Some were cruel in ways that made Ava feel sick. "Mommy?" Lily stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. "Why are you crying?" "I'm not crying, baby. Your face is wet." Ava closed her laptop quickly. "Just allergies." "Oh." Lily climbed into her lap, unconcerned. "Can we go see Dad today?" "Not today." "Why not?" "Because Mommy has things to do." "What things?" "Grown-up things." Lily pouted but didn't argue. She ate her cereal while Ava tried to breathe, tried to think, tried to figure out how their perfect beach day had turned into this nightmare. Her phone rang. Ethan. She declined the call. It rang again, declined. A text. "Ava, please, let me explain." What was there to explain? She'd known this would happen. Maybe not exactly like this, but something like this. She'd known that dating Ethan Wallace, that being connected to him would bring scrutiny, would bring judgment. She'd known and she'd done it anyway. For Lily. Only for Lily. Another text from Ethan. "I'm coming over." Ava's panic spiked. She couldn't see him. Not now. Not when she was barely holding it together. She texted back, "Don't. Please, I need time." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "Okay. But Ava, I'm sorry for all of this." She didn't respond. The next few days were a blur. Parents at the preschool whispered when Ava walked by. Some gave her sympathetic looks. Others seemed judgmental. The director called her into the office to discuss the situation. "We've had some concerns from parents," the director said carefully. "About the publicity, about whether it affects the school's reputation." "Are you firing me?" Ava asked bluntly. "No, of course not. I needed to make sure you're okay, that Lily's okay. We're fine." She wasn't fine. Lily wasn't fine either. The little girl kept asking about her dad, kept wondering why they hadn't seen him. Ava made excuses, said he was busy, said they'd see him soon. She didn't know if she was lying. Ethan called every day, texted every morning and night. She didn't answer, didn't know what to say. On the 4th day, Clara Wallace appeared at the preschool. Ava saw her through the window, elegant and expensive and completely out of place. Her heart hammered. "Can I help you?" the receptionist asked Clara. "I'm here to see Ava Brooks. It's personal." The receptionist came to find Ava. "There's someone here for you. She says it's important." Ava didn't want to go, didn't want to face Ethan's mother, but curiosity, or maybe anger, won out. She met Clara outside, arms crossed. "What do you want?" Clara looked older than Ava remembered. Tired. "To apologize. Little late for that. I know, but I need to say it anyway." Clara's voice trembled. "What I did to you was unforgivable. I was prejudiced and controlling, and I destroyed something beautiful because I was afraid." Afraid of what? Of losing my son, of him choosing a life I didn't approve of not being the most important woman in his life anymore. Clara's eyes filled with tears. "I was selfish and cruel, and I am so sorry." Ava wanted to stay angry, wanted to hold on to the rage that had kept her going through 6 years of struggle, but she was tired, so tired. "Why are you telling me this now?" she asked. "Because Ethan won't speak to me, because I've lost him and it's my own fault, and because—" Clara looked toward the preschool. "Because I have a granddaughter I've never met, and I want to know her. If you'll let me. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking you to, not yet, maybe not ever. I'm just asking for a chance to do better, to be better." Clara pulled an envelope from her purse. "This is Ethan's resignation letter from his company. He's stepping down because of the scandal, because his board gave him an ultimatum: deny you and Lily, or lose his position." Ava's blood ran cold. "What? He chose you, both of you, over everything he built." Clara pressed the envelope into Ava's hands. "He loves you. He's always loved you. And I took that away from both of you. Let me try to give it back." She walked away before Ava could respond. Ava stood there holding the envelope, her mind spinning. Ethan was giving up his company. For her. For Lily. The realization was too big, too overwhelming. She needed to see him. But before she could, Ethan showed up at her door that night. He looked terrible. Unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, his clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them, which he probably had. "Ava," he said when she opened the door, "please let me explain. Your mother came to see me." He blinked. "She what?" "She gave me your resignation letter, told me what happened with your board." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I was going to tell you myself." "Were you? Or were you going to keep trying to handle everything alone?" "I didn't want to burden you with—" "Burden me?" Ava's voice rose. "Ethan, you're giving up your company because of me. How is that not something I should know about? It's not because of you. It's because they're wrong. Because I won't deny you or Lily to protect my reputation. Because some things are more important than money or status or—" "Is this what our life will be like?" Ava interrupted. "Constant scrutiny? People taking pictures without permission? Judging us everywhere we go?" "I don't know. Maybe. Probably." Ethan stepped closer. "But I'll protect you, both of you. I'll make it better. I just need time to—" "Time?" Ava laughed bitterly. "You need time to fix things. To make them better. To figure it all out." She felt tears coming. "That's what you said 6 years ago, wasn't it? Before your accident, before you pulled away, you needed time. That was different. Was it? Because it feels the same. It feels like you choosing everything else over us." "I'm not—" "Where's Daddy?" Lily's voice came from behind Ava. The little girl appeared in pajamas, rubbing her eyes. "I heard your voice. Why haven't you visited?" Ethan's face crumpled. He knelt down. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I've been busy." "Too busy for me?" "No, never. Because Mommy says you're busy, but I think maybe you don't want to see us anymore." Lily's lower lip trembled. "Did I do something wrong?" "No." Ethan reached for her, but Lily stepped back. "Lily, you did nothing wrong. This is all in—" "Then why did you leave?" The question hung there, simple and devastating. Ava watched Ethan struggle for an answer, watched him realize there was no good answer, that to a 5-year-old, explanations about publicity and corporate boards and complicated adult problems meant nothing. All Lily knew was that her father had disappeared. "Lily, go to your room," Ava said gently. "But now, please." Lily went, looking back at Ethan with confused, hurt eyes. When she was gone, Ava turned to Ethan. "You should go." "Ava, please. I need time, Ethan. I need to think about what's best for Lily, for me, for all of us. Don't do this. I'm not doing anything. I'm asking you to leave. Just for now." Ethan looked like she'd struck him. "For how long?" "I don't know." "Ava, please, just go." He stood there for a long moment. Then slowly he nodded. "Okay, but I'm not giving up. On you or Lily Or us. I'm going to fix this. Maybe some things can't be fixed. Ethan flinched, but he didn't argue. He just turned and walked away, his shoulders bent like he was carrying the weight of the world. Ava closed the door and leaned against it, tears finally falling freely. From her room, she could hear Lily crying, and Ava didn't know how to fix any of it. 3 days later, Ava and Lily drove away. Not far, just to her mother's house 2 hours north. Just to get away from the reporters who'd started showing up at the preschool, from the whispers and stares and constant pressure. She didn't tell Ethan they were leaving. Didn't tell anyone except Nora. Lily cried the whole drive. "I want to see Daddy," she sobbed. "Why can't we see Daddy?" "Soon, baby, soon. You keep saying that, but we never do." Ava had no answer. She just drove, watching Charleston disappear in the rearview mirror, and wondered if she was protecting her daughter or breaking her heart. Maybe both. Her phone buzzed with another text from Ethan. She didn't read it, just turned the phone off and kept driving. Behind them, the city faded to nothing. Ahead, only more road, and Ava had never felt more lost in her life. Ethan stood in his empty mansion and finally understood what his mother had done. She hadn't just taken Ava away 6 years ago. She taught him that love was something to fear, something that could be controlled and manipulated and destroyed. She taught him to run when things got hard, and now, when it mattered most, he'd done exactly that. He'd let the board pressure him, let the scandal scare him, let his fear of failing Ava and Lily become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Tom found him on the deck at midnight, staring at the ocean. "Heard from her?" Tom asked. "No, she's not answering." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know." Ethan's voice was hollow. "I don't know how to fix this. Maybe you start by stopping trying to fix everything. Maybe you just show up. Be honest. Let her know you're not going anywhere." "I tried that. She asked me to leave. So try again, and again, and again, until she believes you." Tom clapped him on the shoulder. "That little girl called you Dad. That means something. Don't let it go." After Tom left, Ethan sat alone with the ocean and the stars and the sound of his own regret. He thought about the sandcastle they'd built, about Lily's drawing in the sand, about the wish he'd made with his eyes closed and their hands linked. He'd wished for forever, but forever was harder than he'd thought. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. He almost deleted it, but something made him open it. "I don't want your money or your apology. I just want you to love them the way they deserve. Don't let pride win." Clara, his mother, trying to help, trying to make amends. Ethan looked at Lily's drawing, still saved on his phone. 3 stick figures, a family. He'd made a promise to that little girl. He'd promised to always show up. It was time to keep that promise, even if Ava wouldn't answer his calls, even if she'd left, even if he had to search every town between here and the Canadian border. He'd find her, and he'd prove that some things, some people, were worth fighting for. The house was too quiet. Ethan wandered from room to room, unable to settle. Every surface reminded him of what he'd lost. The kitchen where he'd never cooked, the living room where Lily had pressed her nose against the window, the deck where he'd read Ava's letter and felt his world shift. He'd built this place to be a fortress, a place where nothing could touch him. Now it felt like a prison. Tom found him at dawn, still in yesterday's clothes, staring at nothing. "You look terrible, boss." "Thanks. When's the last time you ate?" Ethan couldn't remember. Tom sighed and pulled out his phone. "I'm ordering food, and then you're going to shower and sleep, and I need to find them." "Find who?" "Ava and Lily, they left. I've been calling, texting, everything. Nothing." Ethan's voice cracked. "She took Lily and left, and I don't know where they are." "Did you try her work?" "She took time off. They won't tell me anything." "Her friends?" "Won't talk to me either." Tom was quiet for a moment. Then, "What do you want, Ethan? Really want?" "Them. I want them in my life. I want to be Lily's father. I want—" He trailed off. "You want Ava?" "Yes." "Then stop hiding in this house. Stop waiting for things to get better on their own. Go fight for them." "How?" "I don't even know where they are." "So find out. You're a tech genius. Use that big brain." Tom headed for the door, then stopped. "And Ethan, when you find them, don't try to fix everything. Just be honest. Tell them what you told me, that you want them, that you're scared, but you're willing to try anyway." After Tom left, Ethan sat with those words. Be honest. Stop trying to fix everything. Just show up. He pulled out his laptop and started searching. Ava's mother lived in a small blue house with a garden full of flowers. It was nothing like Charleston. Quiet, slow, the kind of place where everybody knew everybody and strangers were noticed immediately. Lily hated it. "I want to go home," she said for the 100th time. "I want to see my friends. I want to see Dad. Soon, baby." "You keep saying that." Lily's face was red, tears streaming. "You're lying. We're never going back. We're never going to see Dad again." "Lily, I hate you!" She ran to her room and slammed the door. The sound echoed through the small house like a gunshot. Ava's mother appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. She was 60, grey-haired, with the same warm brown eyes as Ava. "Let her cool down," she said gently. "She's right, though. I am lying." Ava sank onto the couch. "I don't know when we're going back. If we're going back." "Why did you leave?" "Because it was too hard. The attention, the judgment, the constant pressure. And Ethan, he was trying so hard to fix everything that he forgot to just be there." "Sounds familiar." Ava looked up. "What? You, running when things get hard, just like you did 6 years ago? That's not fair." "I didn't run. I was pushed." "Maybe. But you're running now." Her mother sat beside her. "Baby, I raised you alone. I know how scary it is to trust someone else with your heart, with your child. But that little girl in there, she needs her father, and you need to let her have him. What if he hurts her? What if he doesn't? What if he's exactly what both of you need and you're too scared to see it?" Ava's phone buzzed. Another text from Ethan. She'd stopped reading them days ago, but something made her open this one. "I'm not giving up. I love you both. I'm going to prove it." 3 simple sentences, but they hit her like a wave. He loved them. He'd said it. Finally, after all this time. "What does it say?" her mother asked. Ava showed her. Her mother smiled. "So what are you going to do about it?" Before Ava could answer, someone knocked on the door. Ethan had driven 4 hours based on a hunch and a forwarding address he'd found through completely legal means. Mostly legal. He'd worry about the ethics later. The blue house matched the address. A child's bike lay in the front yard. Flowers bloomed everywhere. His heart pounded as he walked up the path and knocked. The woman who answered was older, with Ava's eyes and Ava's smile. Her grandmother, Ethan guessed, or great-aunt, someone important. "Can I help you?" she asked. "I'm looking for Ava Brooks and Lily. I'm Lily's father." The woman studied him, really studied him, like she could see right through to his bones. "Does Ava know you're here?" "No, but I need to see her, please. I need to talk to her. She asked you to leave her alone." "I know, but I can't." "I won't." Ethan took a breath. "I love her. I love our daughter. And I made mistakes. So many mistakes, but I'm here now and I'm not leaving until she hears me out." The woman considered this. Then, slowly, she opened the door wider. "She's in the living room, but if you hurt her again, I don't care how rich you are. I'll make sure you regret it." "Understood." Ethan walked inside. The house smelled like coffee and cinnamon. Photos covered every wall. Ava as a child, as a teenager, holding newborn Lily, teaching Lily to walk. A whole life he'd missed. He found Ava on the couch, staring at her phone. When she looked up and saw him, her face went pale. "How did you—" "I'm sorry." The words tumbled out. "I'm sorry for pulling away, for trying to fix everything instead of just being there, for making you feel like you had to run. I'm sorry for all of it." Ava stood up slowly. "Ethan, you can't just show up here." "I stepped down from my company, officially, yesterday." He pulled out papers, handed them to her. "I'm done choosing work over what matters. I'm done letting fear make my decisions." "You stepped down?" Ava's voice was small. "But your company is everything to you." "No. You and Lily are everything to me. The company was just something to fill the emptiness." He moved closer. "Ava, I spent 6 years alone because I thought I wasn't capable of having a family. And then Lily showed up and changed everything. She made me believe in possibilities again, in second chances." "This isn't just about Lily." "You're right, it's not." Ethan's voice was raw. "It's about you too. It's about how I never stopped loving you. How every relationship I tried after you felt wrong because they weren't you. How seeing you again made me realize I'd been half alive for 6 years. Ava's eyes filled with tears. "Don't say things you don't mean." "I mean every word. I love you, Ava Brooks. I love how you make Lily laugh. I love how you're strong and stubborn and won't let anyone push you around. I love that you built a beautiful life out of nothing, because you're the most resilient person I've ever met." He took her hands. "I love you, and I want a chance to prove it. A real chance." "Daddy?" They both turned. Lily stood in the doorway, her face streaked with tears, her eyes wide with hope. "You came," she whispered. "I came." Ethan knelt down. "I'm sorry I stayed away. I was scared and stupid and I let you down. But I'm here now, and if you'll let me, I want to be your dad. Really be your dad. Not just when it's easy, but always. Lily ran to him, threw her arms around his neck and held on tight. I missed you so much, she sobbed into his shoulder. I missed you too, sweetheart. Ava watched them, tears streaming down her face. This was what she'd been afraid of. This connection, this love, this thing that could break her heart into a million pieces. But maybe it was also what she'd been hoping for all along. Ethan looked up at her over Lily's head. His eyes were red, his face desperate. Give me a chance, he said. Please, let me prove I'm worth trusting. Ava thought about her mother's words, about running versus staying, about fear versus faith. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Lily pulled back, looking between them. Does that mean we're going home? Yes, baby, we're going home. All of us? Lily's voice was hopeful. Together. Ava met Ethan's eyes, saw everything she needed to see there. Yes, she said, all of us. Lily cheered and threw her arms around both of them, pulling them into a messy, tear-stained hug. Through the doorway, Ava's mother watched and smiled. They went back to Charleston the next day, but not to separate homes. Ethan had sold his mansion, or was in the process of selling it. Instead, they went to Ava's small apartment, all three of them, to figure out what came next. It wasn't perfect. The apartment was still too small. They still had to navigate schedules and boundaries and 6 years of missed time, but they were trying, together. Ethan showed up every morning with coffee for Ava and juice boxes for Lily. He walked Lily to school, stayed for drop-off, learned all her friends' names. He helped with homework and bedtime stories and the million small things that made up a life. He didn't try to fix everything. He just showed up. And slowly, carefully, the walls between him and Ava started to come down. 2 weeks after his arrival at her mother's house, Nora invited them all to the preschool's spring festival. It was a big event. Games, music, a small stage where the kids performed songs and skits. Lily's in the show, Nora said. She's been practicing for weeks. You should come. Ethan looked at Ava. Do you want me there? Yes, she said, and meant it. The festival was crowded and loud and wonderful. Children ran everywhere, their faces painted like butterflies and tigers. Parents chatted in small groups. Music played from speakers tied to trees. Ethan held Ava's hand as they walked through it all. Some people stared, some whispered, but most just smiled and moved on. The scandal had faded. Other news had taken its place. Life had moved on. Lily performed a song about families with her class. She saw Ethan and Ava in the crowd, and her whole face lit up. She waved enthusiastically, nearly knocking over the kid next to her. When the song ended, all the children bowed. The crowd clapped. And then, before anyone could stop him, Ethan walked onto the stage. Ava's heart jumped into her throat. What is he doing? Ethan had a microphone. He looked terrified but determined. Hi, he said. His voice echoed across the playground. I'm Ethan Wallace, and that little girl right there. He pointed to Lily, who was staring at him with wide eyes. That's my daughter. The crowd went quiet. A few weeks ago, I didn't know she existed. Now I can't imagine my life without her. Ethan's voice shook. She's smart and kind, and she asks a million questions about everything. She's taught me what it means to be brave, to love without holding back, to show up even when you're scared. He looked at Ava. She was frozen, unable to breathe. And her mother, Ava, she's the strongest person I know. She raised Lily alone for 5 years, gave her everything, made her into this incredible human being. He paused. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've let fear guide me. I've put work before people, but not anymore. He walked over to Lily and knelt down. Lily, if you'll have me, I'd like to be your dad, not just sometimes, always for good. Lily didn't hesitate. She threw her arms around him. Yes, 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 yes. The crowd erupted in applause. Parents cheered, kids clapped. Ethan stood up, still holding Lily, and looked at Ava. She was crying, smiling and crying all at once. He walked off the stage and straight to her. That was for you, he said quietly. So everyone knows. So there's no question. You and Lily are my family. I'm all in. Ava couldn't speak, could only nod and let him pull her close, Lily between them, all three of them holding on tight. Around them the festival continued. Music played. Children laughed. The world kept turning. But in that moment, nothing existed except the three of them and the family they were becoming. That night, after Lily was asleep, Ethan and Ava sat on her small balcony. The city glowed below them. Stars tried to shine through the light pollution. You didn't have to do that, Ava said. The speech, the public declaration. Yes, I did. I needed everyone to know. I needed you to know. I already knew. Did you? Ethan turned to face her. Ava, I've been back in your life for weeks, but we've barely talked about us, about what this is. It's complicated. It doesn't have to be. Ethan, I love you. I'm in love with you, not just because you're Lily's mother, but because you're you. He took her hands. I know we have history. I know we've both been hurt, but I want to try. I want to build something with you, something real. Ava's heart raced. This was the moment, the choice, trust or fear, safety or possibility. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too. What if we mess it up? What if we hurt each other? Then we figure it out. Together. That's what people do. Ethan smiled. Besides, we made a pretty great kid. Can't be that bad at working together. Despite everything, Ava laughed. That's your argument? Is it working? She looked at him. Really looked. At the man who'd driven 4 hours to find her, who'd stepped down from his company, who'd declared his love on a preschool stage in front of everyone. Yeah, she whispered. It's working. Ethan cupped her face gently. Can I kiss you? You better. The kiss was soft at first, tentative. 6 years of longing and hurt and hope all wrapped into one moment. Then Ava's hands were in his hair, and his arms were around her waist, and they were kissing like they'd never stopped, like 6 years was nothing, like they had all the time in the world. When they finally pulled apart, breathless and smiling, Ethan pressed his forehead to hers. Move in with me, he said. What? I'm selling the mansion, buying something smaller, something that feels like a home. Move in with me, you and Lily. Let's do this for real. Ethan, that's too fast. Too soon? Maybe. But we've already lost 6 years. I don't want to waste any more time. Ava thought about her tiny apartment, about Lily's cramped bedroom, about struggling to make rent every month. But more than that, she thought about what Lily needed. What she needed. A family. A real family. Okay, she said, but nothing huge, and definitely not by the ocean. Lily needs a yard, a neighborhood, other kids. Done. Anything you want. And separate bedrooms at first. We need to take this slow. Whatever you need. And Ethan? Ava met his eyes. If you hurt her, if you promise something and don't deliver, I know. You'll never forgive me. He kissed her softly. Good thing I don't plan on letting either of you down. They sat together under the stars, planning their future, both scared and excited and willing to try. Inside, Lily slept peacefully, dreaming of sandcastles and families and wishes coming true. They moved into a small house 6 weeks later. It was in a quiet neighborhood with trees lining the streets and kids riding bikes on the sidewalks. 3 bedrooms, a yard with a swing set, a kitchen big enough to actually cook in. It wasn't fancy, but it was home. Lily got her own room, which she decorated with drawings and stuffed animals and a mobile of paper stars that caught the light. Ava took the 2nd bedroom. Ethan took the 3rd. They didn't talk about when that might change. They were taking things slow, learning each other all over again, but some nights when Lily had nightmares, they'd all end up in the same bed. Lily in the middle, Ava on one side, Ethan on the other. Those were Ava's favorite nights. Ethan worked from home now, consulting for startups, choosing his own hours. It was less money than before, but enough. More than enough. He picked Lily up from school every day, helped her with homework at the kitchen table, made terrible dinners that they laughed about while ordering pizza. He learned to braid hair, to paint nails, to have pretend tea parties with stuffed animals. He learned to be a father, and slowly, carefully, he and Ava learned to be partners. They went on dates, real dates with babysitters and dinner reservations and nervous hand-holding. They talked about everything they'd missed in 6 years. They shared dreams and fears and hopes for the future. They fell in love again, or maybe they just remembered how to be in love. 2 months after moving in, Clara came to visit. She called first, asked permission, brought flowers and a stuffed elephant for Lily, and tears in her eyes. Ava let her in. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a chance. To her beginning, Clara sat on the floor with Lily playing blocks, her expensive suit forgotten. She asked about school and friends and favorite colors. She listened, really listened, with none of the judgment that had defined her before. Thank you, she said to Ava before leaving, for letting me meet her. She's extraordinary. She is, Ava agreed. She gets it from you. The words were simple, but they meant everything. Clara visited every other week after that, slowly building a relationship with her granddaughter, slowly earning Ava's trust. It wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments, still pain that needed healing, but they were trying, all of them. On a warm evening in September, 6 months after Lily first knocked on Ethan's door, they returned to the beach, the same beach where they'd built sandcastles, where Lily had drawn their family in the sand. They spread out a blanket and watched the sun sink toward the horizon. Lily ran along the shore, chasing seagulls. Her laughter carried on the wind. "She's happy," Ava said softly. "She is." Ethan took her hand. "Are you?" "Yes. Scared sometimes, but happy." "Good, because I have something for you." He pulled out a small box, velvet, worn at the edges. Ava's breath caught. "Ethan, wait, before you say anything." He opened the box. Inside was a simple silver ring with a small crescent moon carved into it, just like their birthmarks. "I'm not asking you to marry me, not yet. We're not ready for that." "Then what?" "I'm asking you to promise me we'll get there. Someday, when we're both ready, when Lily's ready, when we've healed enough to build something permanent." He took the ring out. "This is a promise, that I'll show up, that I'll choose you every day, that I'm committed to this family we're building." Tears streamed down Ava's face. "You're really serious about this?" "I've never been more serious about anything." Ava looked at the ring, at the crescent moon that matched their daughter's birthmark, at the symbol of everything they'd lost and found again. "Okay," she whispered. "Yes, I promise too." Ethan slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. They kissed as the sun touched the ocean, painting everything gold and orange and pink. "Mom, Dad, come see," Lily's voice called from down the beach. They ran to her, hand in hand. She'd found another sand dollar. This one broken, just a piece, but she held it like treasure. "It's not whole," she said, "but it's still beautiful, right?" Ethan and Ava looked at each other. "Yes, sweetheart," Ava said, her voice thick. "Sometimes the broken things are the most beautiful." They walked back along the shore as the sun set, Lily between them, all three holding hands. A family, imperfect, and messy, and real, but theirs, finally, completely theirs. 6 months later, on a sunny Saturday in March, they gathered at the house for Lily's 6th birthday. The yard was full of people, kids from school, Nora and her boyfriend, Tom and his wife, even Clara, who'd baked cupcakes and wore jeans for the first time anyone could remember. Lily ran around in a birthday crown, her face painted like a butterfly, directing everyone with the confidence of a tiny general. The cake was 3 layers, white frosting decorated with 3 crescent moons, one for each of them. When it was time to sing, everyone gathered around. Lily stood on a chair, beaming, ready to blow out her candles. "Make a wish," someone called. Lily closed her eyes tight. Her lips moved in a silent wish. Then she blew with all her might, getting every candle in one breath. "What did you wish for?" Ava asked. "Can't tell you or it won't come true." Lily grinned. "But I think it already did." She looked at Ethan and Ava standing together, his arm around her waist, both of them smiling at their daughter with so much love it hurt to see. Later, after the cake was eaten and the presents opened and the guests started to leave, Ethan found Ava in the kitchen. "So," he said, "I was thinking, dangerous. That ring I gave you, the promise ring. I remember it well. I wear it every day. I know, and I love that. But," he pulled out another box, smaller this time. "I think we're ready for a real one now." Ava's heart stopped. "Ethan, marry me, Ava Brooks. Not because of Lily, not because of the past, but because I love you, because you make me better, because I want to spend the rest of my life building this beautiful, messy thing with you." He opened the box. A simple diamond on a silver band. Nothing fancy, just perfect. "Marry me." Ava looked at the ring, at Ethan, at the life they'd built from broken pieces. "Yes," she said, laughing and crying at once. "Yes, you ridiculous man, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger, next to the promise ring she refused to take off. They fit together perfectly, like they'd been designed that way. Outside, fireworks started, the neighbors down the street celebrating something. The booms echoed across the neighborhood. Lily ran inside, breathless. "Fireworks! Come look!" The 3 of them went out to the yard. Ethan lifted Lily onto his shoulders. Ava stood beside them, her hand in his. They watched the sky explode in color, red and gold and silver and blue, each burst reflected in Lily's wide, wondering eyes. "This is the best birthday ever," Lily announced. "The best day of my whole life." "Mine too," Ethan said quietly, looking at Ava. "Mine too," Ava agreed. They stood there, the 3 of them, watching light bloom and fade against the dark sky. A family forged from secrets and second chances, from hurt and healing, from love that refused to stay buried. The fireworks continued. Lily cheered with each burst. Ethan held them both close, and Ava finally let herself believe that some wishes really did come true, that broken things could be made beautiful again, that it was never too late for healing, for forgiveness, for love, that the family she'd thought impossible was standing right here, under an explosion of stars, complete at last. Lily's birthmark caught the light from the fireworks, that crescent moon that connected her to her father, that symbol of everything they'd found in each other. "I love you both so much," Ava whispered. "We love you too," Ethan said. "Always." "Always?" Lily echoed, not quite understanding but feeling the truth of it anyway. The fireworks reached their finale, filling the sky with light. And as they faded, leaving only smoke and stars, the three of them stayed together, holding on tight, finally home. The end.